Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's gonna be a little bit of a different video. It's not gonna be a vlog. I have wanted to talk to you guys about my financial situation and budgeting and everything since I've moved out. I know a lot of you guys are very curious. I've been pretty open with my moving journey and everything like that, and I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys about how much is rent and how much am I spending a month. Like, is it sustainable to move out? Should you live at home? How much am I saving, etc, etc. So a lot of this I'm gonna try and round up the numbers and stuff because it's a pretty big generalization, even down to the amount of money that I take home a month. I don't want to get too into the specifics. I just want to give you guys an overall broad picture, and hopefully it will give you guys a good understanding of how much it really is to live on your own. Now I do want to say I do live in Ontario. I do not live in the GTA, so my housing expenses are going to reflect that. They are not astronomical in comparison to how it is to live in Toronto. I'm going to give you guys kind of like a rough estimate on how much I spend. So anyways, without further ado, let's just get into the video. So I moved out in September of 2020. So it's been October, November, December, January. So it's been about 4 months of me living on my own, and it has been great. I have no complaints. I feel great. Like I don't feel like I'm strapped for cash. I don't feel like I need to move back home. Like, I am good in that sense. Luckily though, I am still working. I am an essential worker, so I work in the hospital. So the pandemic has not altered my employment at all. If anything, I'm working more, so I'm making more. But as a generalization, this is my bullet journal for 2021, and this is my bullet journal for 2020. Now I am very much a planner. I do everything. I track all of my savings, expenses, that kind of stuff. Like, I had a bills tracker for when I moved out. I even had like a pre-tracker before I even moved out. This year I decided to put all of my savings on one page and all of my bills on another page. So I did do a breakdown of a lot of, well, of everything, and I am going to share it with you guys. So for full transparency, I do want to say that I am very privileged in the sense where I never paid rent when I lived back at home. My parents were gracious enough to let me live under their roof rent-free. They also did contribute such a large part in paying off my education. I did take out a small loan, but after I graduated, I was able to pay off all of my student loans within like a month or two of working, because I had already saved up money previous to that. So student loans, I have no student loans. The only debt that I really have is just to pay off my car. I have about 2 more years left on my car. So I'm not gonna give you guys like a set number of how much I take home a month, but I guess, like, you know, if you do the math, you guys can kind of break it down. My monthly income that I take home does fluctuate. I would say around like $200 to $500 a month, depending on if I have an extra shift, or if I'm working a holiday, or if I get a sponsorship from YouTube or whatever. With that being said, my necessities and everything I will tell you guys right now. So I've categorized my bulk spending, like the bulk of my money does go to necessities. So this is like non-negotiables that I do have to pay every single month. I'm not going to give you, again, the exact number, but for the amount of rent that I pay, it is a little bit more, like a little bit more, not even like the full 100 more, but it's a little bit more than $1,000 a month. So that is my rent. That's how much I pay a month, is $1,000. We'll just say that. So with my rent, I have utilities and hydro, which I pay every single month, and then my water bill comes every other month, so it charges me every 2 months. So with a ballpark, utilities, hydro, and water, if I, like, you know, average it out and everything, it comes to about $30 to $40 each. So like 30, whatever, like say 35, let's just say 35 to keep it even. So $35 for utilities, $35 for hydro, $35 for water every single month if I do the calculation. So this month for rent, utilities, hydro, and I did have to pay water this month, so a little bit less than $1,200 for the month. For that's rent and all of those things that I just mentioned. So that's the bare necessities to live here is roughly $1,200 a month. Now, for things like my phone bill, my internet, and my gym bill, these are things that are also necessities, but they're kind of like add-ons. I have a fairly cheap phone plan because I did like buy out my phone a few years ago, and it's just kind of like a pay-as-you-go plan. My internet plan is also cheaper because my boyfriend was able to get me like a really good discount, and he is actually also kind enough to pay for a third of my internet. So I pay for 2/3 of the internet and he pays for a third, because sometimes he comes and he works from my place, or like, you know, we use the internet together. I don't know, he's just really nice that way. So I pay 2/3 of the internet, and then my gym bill is originally I think like $52 a month. I don't pay that right now because of the pandemic, so I haven't been going to the gym, but I do include that because I am expecting to pay it eventually. So that will come out to, right now my phone and internet just together is coming out to about $100, but if I add on the gym bill every month, it'll be about $150. The next bulk of my expenses comes from my car payment. So I did buy out my car. I didn't buy it straight from the dealership, but it was pretty much brand new. Like, it was, anyway, I got it from my dad, who then I took over it, and then I gave him my old car, and then anyway, so I pay roughly $526, I don't know, something like that per month to pay off my car. I didn't really have a choice in that. Again, it wasn't my decision to go out and buy the car at whatever rate, so I just kind of took over that. On top of my car payment, I also pay car insurance, and my renter's insurance is also bundled in with that. So in total, every single month for my car insurance, and my renter's insurance, I pay about $700. Those are all like pretty much set, and those are kind of like out of my ability apart from like my utilities and stuff, you know. But now comes food, which is obviously another necessity, but I can kind of pick and choose, you know. I can buy on sale, or I can whatever. Personally, I like to eat healthy, but I don't restrict myself to only like organic stuff, or like, you know, like, we're trying out here, right? I'm still new at this adulting thing, so I do typically like to buy the cheaper items. I don't really care for brands. If there's a bunch of different eggs, I'm gonna just buy the cheapest one, make sure they're not cracked, and it's good to go. I primarily do my grocery shopping at Food Basics because I like their produce, but also they're more on the affordable side. I also like Walmart sometimes if I need more other household things. I find that they're really good, and I used to work at Walmart, so I'm pretty good with price matching everything, no matter how annoyed other people get. If you guys follow my vlogs, my last vlog that I uploaded, I did a grocery haul, and I did tell you guys how much I spent roughly. In that haul, I spent roughly $100 for all of that food, and I did just go grocery shopping again. So I go about every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks I spend about $100 to $150 depending on what I'm planning on making, or if I'm just, you know, deciding to make something new and it has a little bit more expensive ingredients. So I went grocery shopping yesterday. I spent a little bit more than I usually do. I spent $150 or $100, something like that, because I want to make a nice lasagna today. For food this month, I have totaled. Today is January 25th, and I don't expect to go grocery shopping again until probably February, so probably like in a week and a half or 2 weeks. So for January, I spent roughly $275 on food. Now, the next necessity, which is like, can't really get away from it, can't really control it, is gas. So the only place I'm going during this pandemic is straight to work. I fill up my gas roughly, again, about every 2 weeks. The first time I filled it up this month was $41.47, and the second time that I filled it up this month, I had a gas card that my godson actually gifted to, well, my cousin, but my godson gifted to me for Christmas that I forgot that I had, so I used my gas card. So actually this month I only spent around $40, But if I were to fill up twice and actually pay for that second time, I would roughly spend about $80 on gas. Some days, like if I'm not working too much, that could definitely be a lot lower. Pre-lockdown, I would visit my parents as well, so I would maybe have to fill up every like week and a half, but roughly I'd say anywhere from $60 to $100 on gas a month is roughly where I'm at. This month was around 80. Those are just the necessities. I am gonna put in my extra spending. So sometimes I feel like I'm itching to spend a little bit of money, you know, as much as I try to be good with it, and as much as I try to budget everything, I do have the itch sometimes to spend a little money. Now in this category, I didn't spend that much in January, but I consider this like eating out. So like if I stop by for a coffee before my night shift, or if I bought a cute little Sherpa hoodie from Aritzia because it was on sale and I just thought it was really cute. That kind of stuff is the stuff that I categorize in extra spending. So in January, for ordering out and like buying clothes and stuff, I spent $275.08. So that is generally, I think, how much I spend personally on myself. And actually that does include like food for dates and stuff. If my boyfriend comes over and I want to treat him to breakfast, I go out to McDonald's and buy us a breakfast, or if I grab like lunch or something, that is also included in that $275 for the month. So to be honest, that's not as bad. So my total for January that I spent this month came to around $2,600 was how much I spent this month. That is, I think, typical of how much I would spend a month. Now, a good portion of that, as I said, is like non-negotiables, rent, hydro, utilities, car payments, insurance. And really the only extra that I could cut down on was that $250 or $275 on my extra spending. But I feel like, I think that's reasonable. I think me looking at this and budgeting myself, I think I'm allowing that. Like that's not a bad amount of money to spend, I think. Now it doesn't happen every month, but it's also not an absurd amount of money to spend on myself. And if I'm working so much, then why not treat myself every now and then? That's totally fine with me. And so now we're gonna get to the savings. I am a very, 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 very aggressive saver. My parents have always taught me to be that way. That's just how I am. Some might have called me stingy a long time ago, back when I wasn't, you know, really making that much money, but I've always just been really frugal. I don't get me wrong, I like to spend money on things that I think are worth it, and I definitely do have a luxury purse fund for myself, but budgeting I think is the key thing. So every month I put at least, I would say, about $1,500 into my savings. Every year I max out my TFSA and I do invest. So I invest mostly in stocks and in index funds. I am just about to invest in an ETF. To be honest, I don't really know too much about, like I know about it enough that I can have a conversation with somebody about it, but I don't know the ins and outs. I don't watch the stock market or anything. My boyfriend and I will have conversations, like financial conversations, because this is the kind of stuff that he's really into. He knows the ins and outs of this kind of stuff. He reads the financial documents and everything, and he will tell me about stocks or like certain index funds or certain things that he thinks that it would be worth it for me to invest in, and we have a conversation. If I decide that that sounds like a good investment, then I will go ahead and invest in it. So far, mostly everything that I've invested in has turned out to be good. I was a little bit scared at the very beginning of the pandemic because my portfolio was not looking cute, but I gotta tell you, like, I didn't sell. I definitely held every single thing that I was invested in, and it looks so much better now. So I definitely invest a lot of my money, although I'm not the best person to ask about it. I know there are apps and like other things that you can use if you are not familiar with investing. Like Wealth Simple, I think, is one that one of my family members uses, and other things like that. Like there are so many YouTubers out there that talk about financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor, so that's not what this video is about. But I think if you were really hungry for that information, there are so many resources that you can find, especially online. You don't always have to talk to a financial advisor right off the bat. You can learn a lot of your just ground knowledge on the internet and reading stuff online. So apart from my TFSA, it goes into my savings account, and around 200 to 250 will go into my personal savings fund. So that personal savings is meant for like larger purchases that I plan on doing sometime in the future. Like if I want to buy a new camera, it's going to come out of that personal savings fund. Or if I want to buy a Louis Vuitton purse or a YSL purse, it's gonna come out of that fund. And I'm very diligent about it. Like a lot of the YouTube money that I make will go directly into that fund, because it is kind of like extra money that wouldn't be there if I had not done YouTube, you know what I mean? So that in itself is a general rundown of my monthly expenses. I did ask you guys on Instagram to send me a few questions. Another good question that I got here was from Jill RJM. Says, how much do you save for emergencies? So I don't really have a specific number, but I will tell you guys that I did live at home for about 2 years. So after I moved back from school, I lived at home for about 3 years, and 2 of those years was right when I started working. So 2 years I was able to work pretty much full-time, save all of that money. I didn't pay any rent, didn't pay anything apart from my car and car insurance and phone bill and stuff like that. So I was able to save up a lot of money, and that money was put into my TFSA account, which is why I was able to max it out. I don't have a house right now. This video is only basically for renters. I am hoping to buy a house sometime this year or probably next year. So that money was money that I didn't really touch. After my TFSA was maxed and after all of that stuff is dealt with, I started putting stuff into a savings account, which is more like liquid money that I am able to just use and put in and take out and whatever whenever I wanted to. The only thing is that I just never took it out. So it kind of came to the point for me, emergency fund is something like, if I was unable to work, who's gonna pay my rent kind of thing, right? I have a good amount of money in my savings account where if I was to lose my job, I would be okay for quite a while. That's just like how I like to see things, because I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm unable to meet rent or whatever, you know? I just trying to be the best adult that I can be. Like I try to put any excess amount of money into my savings account, and I do have to keep like a little bit of money in my checkings account. That's the money that I use to pay my credit cards, like if I go grocery shopping or if I have to pay for something for my car or whatever. So that's just how I categorize things in my head. Another good question was, how do you budget your money versus needs and wants? So like I said, I'm not really the type of person to splurge a lot, but I find that if I really want something and it's a big purchase, I do like to mull it over for a really long time. And if it depends to me, like if I need it now or if I can wait until later. So a good example of that is like my iMac. I actually really needed it to continue making content because my laptop was RIP, girl. She cannot edit videos anymore. She cannot. So it was a now investment so that I can continue doing my side hustle or like something that I enjoy to do. That to me is more a necessity and a want. So that's like two things in one. Whereas I have a separate fund for, like I said, my personal fund for a luxury bag. So that to me is not a necessity at all. Can I afford a bag right now? Yeah, but I'm not gonna drop like $2,000 or $3,000 on a bag when I don't really like feel like I deserve it right now. I think to me, being able to put a little bit of money away every single month until I get to the point where I can afford one would make me feel a lot better, because it makes me feel like I've taken care of my finances and everything after that has been taken care of. This is the amount of money that I have left to now enjoy for myself. That's how I separate the big stuff in my head. Like, do I need it right now? If the answer is no, and like, be honest with yourself. Of course I would want a cute little bag right now, of course, but do I need it right now? I do not. Will I need it in a year? No, I won't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it at all, but I would like it. So to me, I think it's fair to me, and it's better for me if I save up slowly for that kind of thing. And by the time, like in like a year or something, if I have the money and I decide, hey, I don't really want this anymore, I want to get a camera instead, I can go do that, because I've allocated that amount of money. I've written it down. This is the amount of money that I have for personal spending that I will not touch for anything else, and that's just what it's for. So yeah, and other things, like small things, like if like Aritzia is having a sale, as long as I'm not breaking my bank over it. So yeah, this was a very long video, but I think I pretty much touched on every single subject. I hope that it helped you guys a little bit, and I hope that you got the information that you were looking for in this video, and I really want to thank you guys for spending some time with me today. And also, I have an Instagram. If you guys are active on there and you guys want to send me more questions and stuff, feel free to follow me. It's just @thatlinguistic. And until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!